Hello, my lovely friend. Welcome to English Lounge. I'm Lily, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. Whether you're relaxing at home, driving to work, taking a walk, or simply enjoying a quiet moment, thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. Here at English Lounge, we don't just learn English, we experience it through real stories, beautiful places, and everyday moments that help English feel natural, simple, and enjoyable. So today, take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders relax, leave today's worries behind, and come with me. Together, we're spending a beautiful day at the beach. Have you ever had one of those mornings when nothing is really wrong, but somehow your heart feels a little tired? That was exactly how I felt today. I opened my eyes, reached for my phone, and before I even got out of bed, there were already emails, messages, news, and a long list of things waiting for me. For a moment, I just sat there, looking out of my bedroom window. The world outside was already awake. Birds were singing. The trees were dancing gently in the morning breeze. Sunlight slowly filled the room. Everything looked peaceful, except my mind. Have you ever felt like your body is resting, but your thoughts are running a marathon? I smiled a little, because I knew exactly what I needed. Not another cup of coffee, not another hour scrolling through my phone, not another day spent indoors. I quietly whispered to myself, I think it's time to visit the beach. Those simple words made my heart feel lighter. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes happiness begins with one small decision. Not something expensive, not something complicated, just choosing yourself for a little while. Within 20 minutes, my beach bag was ready. A soft towel, a bottle of cold water, my sunglasses, a little notebook, a novel I had promised myself I would finally finish, and of course, some snacks. Because somehow, food always tastes better by the ocean. I picked up my keys, locked the front door, and as I walked toward my car, I noticed something. Nothing around me had changed. My responsibilities were still waiting. My emails would still be there later. Tomorrow would still arrive. But today belonged to me. And that thought made me smile all the way to the beach. The drive was surprisingly quiet. I turned the radio off. No music, no podcasts, just silence. At first, it felt strange. Then slowly, it became peaceful. I rolled down the window. A cool breeze rushed inside the car. A few minutes later, I could smell it. That fresh, salty, beautiful scent that only the ocean has. Without realizing it, I smiled. It's funny how some places can make you feel better before you even arrive. As I reached the beach, I didn't hurry to get out of the car. Instead, I stayed there for a moment, watching the waves through the windshield, listening to seagulls flying overhead, watching the morning sunlight sparkle across the water. It almost felt as if the ocean was quietly saying, I stepped out of the car and took a long, deep breath. Fresh air filled my lungs. The gentle breeze brushed against my face, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe properly again. I slipped off my sandals. The warm sand felt soft beneath my feet. Every step felt lighter than the one before. The waves rolled gently toward the shore, then slowly disappeared back into the sea. Again and again, as if the ocean had been patiently waiting for me all morning. I walked closer until the cool water touched my feet. Splash! I laughed. The water was colder than I expected, but somehow, that tiny surprise made me feel more alive. I looked around. A little boy was running after the waves. His laughter echoed across the beach. A golden dog raced past me carrying a bright orange ball. Its owner chased after it, laughing even harder than the dog. Nearby, an elderly couple sat quietly on a wooden bench, holding hands without saying a single word. Watching them made me realize something. Everyone had come to the beach for a different reason. Some came to play, some came to relax, some came to forget, some came to remember. And maybe, without even realizing it, I had come here to find myself again. I closed my eyes. The sound of the waves, the fresh ocean breeze, the warmth of the morning sun. For the first time in a very long time, my mind became completely quiet. And in that peaceful silence, our beautiful day by the ocean had only just begun. Slow down. You're exactly where you need to be. I smiled. Maybe the ocean speaks a language we don't hear with our ears, but with our hearts. As I walked, I noticed children building sandcastles. One little boy worked so carefully, adding tiny shells to the top of each tower. Just as he finished, a wave rolled in and washed half of it away. I looked at him, expecting tears. Instead, he laughed. He picked up his little bucket and happily started building again. Sometimes children remind us of something adults often forget. It's okay to start over. Life doesn't always go the way we plan, but every new beginning gives us another chance. A little farther along the beach, a golden dog came running toward me with a bright blue ball in its mouth. It stopped for just a second, looked at me, wagged its tail, and then happily ran back to its owner. Moments like that don't last very long, but somehow, they stay in our memories forever. I continued walking until something shiny caught my attention. Half hidden beneath the sand was a tiny seashell. It wasn't perfect. One side was chipped, but I picked it up anyway. Holding it reminded me of my childhood. I used to collect seashells with my family and believe every shell held a happy memory inside it. Maybe I still believe that. I carefully placed it in my pocket with a smile. The beach was becoming more lively now. Friends were playing volleyball, children chased seagulls across the sand. Surfers waited patiently for the next perfect wave. Everyone seemed to be enjoying life in their own way. Watching them made me realize something. Happiness doesn't always look the same. For some people, it's adventure. For others, it's simply sitting quietly and listening to the waves. After a while, I began to feel hungry. The fresh sea air had definitely done its job. Just ahead, I noticed a small beach cafe with white wooden tables and blue umbrellas. It looked simple, cozy, and welcoming. As soon as I walked inside, the smell of fresh coffee and warm bread filled the air. A friendly barista smiled. "Good morning." "Good morning," I replied. I looked at the menu for a moment before saying, "Could I please have an iced latte and a chicken sandwich?" "Of course," she answered with a smile. A few minutes later, I found a seat beside the window. The view was beautiful. The sparkling ocean, people laughing, the gentle sound of the waves. It felt like time had slowed down. I enjoyed every sip of my coffee and every bite of my lunch without checking my phone once. Sometimes, the best way to recharge isn't doing something exciting. It's simply giving yourself permission to slow down. When I finished, I thanked the barista, picked up my bag, and stepped outside once again. The afternoon sun had turned golden. The breeze felt cooler. The beach looked even more beautiful than it had that morning. And somehow, so did life. I walked back toward the shoreline one last time. The beach felt different now. The afternoon had slowly turned into evening. The bright blue sky was changing into soft shades of orange, pink, and gold. Everyone seemed to slow down. Children were packing their buckets. Families folded their beach chairs. Friends gathered together to watch the sunset. Even the waves sounded calmer. I found a quiet place and sat down on the warm sand. For a few moments, I didn't say anything. I simply watched the sun slowly sink toward the horizon. It was one of those beautiful moments that no camera could ever truly capture. As I looked around, I realized something. This morning, everyone arrived carrying something different. Some came with friends. Some came with family. Some came alone. Some were laughing. Some looked tired. But for a little while, the ocean made us all feel the same. Peaceful. Maybe that's the magic of the beach. It doesn't ask who you are, where you come from, or what you're going through. It simply welcomes everyone. A little girl ran past me, holding her father's hand. She looked at the sunset and whispered, "It's so pretty." Her father smiled and replied, "It really is." Sometimes, the simplest words are the most meaningful. I reached into my pocket and felt the little seashell I had found earlier. It made me smile. I knew I wasn't taking home something valuable. I was taking home a memory. The sound of the waves, the fresh ocean breeze, the warm sand beneath my feet, the laughter of strangers, the peaceful silence. Those were the real souvenirs. The last light of the sun slowly disappeared behind the ocean. The sky grew darker, and the first stars quietly appeared above us. I stood up, brushed the sand from my clothes, and took one last look at the sea. This morning, I came here feeling tired. Now, I was leaving with a lighter heart. Life would still be busy tomorrow. My responsibilities would still be waiting. But today reminded me that it's okay to pause, to breathe, and to enjoy the little moments that make life beautiful. Thank you for spending this beautiful day with me. I hope this little beach adventure brought you a moment of peace and helped you feel a little more confident in your English. Until next time, take care of yourself, keep smiling, and never stop learning. Goodbye.